No one in this world can you trust. Not men, not women, not beasts. This you can trust.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Glory of Golden State Gaming. I'm your host, Swamp Swimmer, and with me, as always, the pack of hyenas to my scar, Vespacian.
Buddy, there we go. I like that one.
We're going to continue down this road of Disney villains and their sidekicks. I think it's a good choice. But you know what I want to talk about today, Vespacian? I want to talk about hot sauce. Yeah, you heard me right. Hot sauce. So I grew up in Southern California, so there were many numerous hot sauces I grew up with. You know, your Tapatio, your Valencia, your Tabasco sauce, and I feel like everyone has their favorite brand of hot sauce. And very recently, I was introduced to a new hot sauce, which I think might be my new favorite. I actually have it right here. Someone introduced me to this one, which is from Louisiana, is Crystal. And evidently a lot of people know about this hot sauce, but I just discovered it. And I love it. It's really good. It's like vinegary, and I love some vinegar in my food. I just want to point out I love Crystal hot sauce. I wanted to ask you, what is your hot sauce of choice?
So two things. One funny story. I used to work in the restaurant industry for a company called Hillstone. And they actually, I remember, I don't know if this was a myth, but there was a narrative that the deviled eggs, that their deviled eggs are amazing, that their deviled eggs recipe was actually designed to be complemented by Crystal hot sauce.
Oh.
And so the restaurants where they served it had Crystal hot sauces on the table to complement it. So I don't know if that was just a legend or if any of the viewers have been to Hillstone or Houston's restaurant, but Crystal hot sauce is great and it goes great with their deviled eggs. And then to answer your question directly, my favorite hot sauce, you may have had it before from when you were in the Bay, Palo Alto Firefighters hot sauce.
You know, I've heard of it, but I've actually never had it.
They used to have it in packets at Phil's Coffee.
Yeah.
And it goes great with the breakfast burritos, but I just buy the bottles. I love it, man. It's so good on like a breakfast burrito or, you know, like a rice, you know, like fried rice bowl or something like that. It's great.
All right. There you go. There's our personal endorsements of hot sauces. Crystal, and what was yours called? The Mike's Firehouse. What was it?
Palo Alto Firefighters hot sauce.
Oh. All right. Well, there you go. If you have a favorite hot sauce, please put it in the comments below. But let's get on to the battle report. We are in round 2 of the Infernal Zoo number 10, 2022 in Davis, California. You started out round 1 with a big old 20-0 win, and you got paired into our good friend Daryl playing the Dwarven holds. Daryl's a Sacramento player who we both play a lot, and he's thoroughly on the Dwarven holds train. Yeah, if you're interested in
Vespacian, Daryl round 1 of last year's Infernal Zoo.
Oh,
also. Yeah, so here you
go. If you are interested in Vespacian's list, please click the link that is right above my head. That'll take you directly to the round 1 video where we go into his list in a little more detail. But first, let's talk about Daryl's list. I remember this list. This is probably the coolest list in the whole the tournament. Most interesting list, in my opinion. The Triple Dragon Seeker. Triple. You heard it right. Triple Dragon Seeker. Okay, the first one's got paired weapons with Rune of Destruction, Rune of Might, Rune of Fire, and Grim Resolve. The second one's got Rune of Quickening, Rune of Precision, Rune of Might, and Monster Seeker. And the third one has Rune of Quickening, Rune of Might, Rune of Fury, Monster Seeker. Whew, those guys could really pump out some damage into monsters. Then he's got Runic Smith as a general, Rune of Denial, Rune of Mastery, 3 battle runes. Another Rune Smith with Rune of Mastery, 3 battle runes. 30 Greybeards with great weapons, Potion of Swiftness. 30 Clan Warriors, great weapons, Vanguard, Band of Relentless Company. 20 Seekers with Vanguard, 20 Seekers with Vanguard. 13 Seekers in the Skirmish formation with Vanguard, and 2 Vengeance Seekers. Does this whole list Vanguard?
Close to it.
So the
Yes,
30 Greybeards with the Runic Standard of Swiftness. Does the Runic Standard give them Vanguard?
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah, so I
damn.
think they get it from the standard, the Warriors get it from the upgrade, and all of the Seeker units. Oh, sorry, the Vengeance Seekers don't Vanguard. At least I don't think they do.
Sorry, you're right. The 2 Vengeance Seekers don't Vanguard. This is a push in your face list.
Yeah.
But I think you might have a good matchup against him because you've got a high avoidance army. So if he pushes on you, which is his MO with this list, you can dance around it a little bit.
Yep.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Actually,
I
have
think you switch over to my. I sent you. Yeah. So this is, I think, ended up being quite accurate based on how the battle turned out, which is I saw this as a good matchup because I have so much shooting and the Seekers are easy to shoot down from range. But I think what makes this matchup really unstable is 1, if he gets first turn and thus can Vanguard, and 2 is the objective. And I think I was quite unfortunate to end up facing Daryl's list in this objective because it's hold the ground, and I think it's really, really hard to get 2 30-man blocks of dwarves off of a center objective.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Going
we'll see how it plays out.
Going into the game, did you just say forget the secondary?
I think you'll see. No, the short answer is no. I think you'll see from deployment kind of what I was trying to do. So yeah, we can take a look at it.
So this is marked deployment in Vanguard.
Yeah. So if I recall correctly, this was. I can't remember maybe marching. I can't remember the deployment. Maybe it was
Oh wait, hold on.
circle.
I have it marked here. What was it? Counter thrust, hold the ground.
Counter. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. So basically, we went drop for 3, and then Daryl dropped everything to go first because I won the roll for sides, right? So obviously already, not a great start. I would have loved to have lost the roll for sides in this matchup. And then also on top of that counter thrust, which put him even closer to me, right? So with both the Vanguard counter thrust first turn, it felt like a hard place to start from. What you can see, left to right on my side was I have 1 unit of scoring cav over on the left-hand side.
Yeah, right here.
And this was one of my tactics for trying to at least contest the secondary, which was I wanted that unit way over on the left, with the rest of my army over on the right, so that he kind of had to pull away from it and potentially give me options to sort of dart the cavalry unit in to like push or win objectives at certain times. So we'll see how that plays out. The other thing that I had going for me that you can kind of see with the way I deployed was in this scenario, the zoo having special setups, dragons were also scoring.
Yes.
So that was actually a part of why I took the dragon to the zoo, was because hold the ground is really bad and hard for this list to win, and having a big scary monster that can sit on the objective in the center thought it was a good idea until you come up against 3 seeker characters that can one-shot a dragon without breathing hard.
Yeah, yeah. You make a good point.
So yeah. So anyways, I felt like I had, after he deployed relatively centrally but slightly to the left from my perspective, so I basically counter deployed to the right. And you can see I've got the dragon sort of central there. The one of the tree fathers, the big archer block with my BSB in it behind, the sentinels behind them, and then the tree father ancient, the caster there, and then behind him the little scoring unit of spears, the other cavalry dart over on the right, and then right next to each other the 2 pathfinder units. So basically I've set up my gun line, you come towards me and I will shoot you a lot.
Yeah.
Basically set up on his side. It's really hard to tell the difference here, but basically I think he's already vanguarded and pushed up his skirmishing seekers that have all the characters in them.
Okay.
Right into the ruins there. Yeah, he's got 1 other seeker block behind them, you can see. He's got, and I actually in the battle I forgot, to my detriment, which one of these bricks was which, but he's got either the Greybeards or the warriors next to one another. One of them is behind his hand there.
Yeah.
And then the other seeker brick. And you can vaguely see one of his vengeance seekers behind that obelisk thing in the upper part there. And I think the other one is right next to it. So they're sort of right next to one another, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was it.
So he decided not to like vanguard everything, which is I find surprising.
No. Yeah, I think what he was worried about, and probably rightfully so, was he was worried about me, if he kind of pushed too far forward, like wrapping him, right? Because I can move pretty quickly around his flanks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that based on the way that I deployed, I think that Daryl sort of saw this as secure the objective, win, and play relatively conservatively. I mean, I'd love to hear from him how he thought about it, but he did not do a full court press on the Vanguard.
Interesting. Let's see here. Next pick, top of 1 move. It looks like he got first turn.
Yeah, so he had first turn and pushed up a bit. You know, he's got all of his seekers arrayed in front of me, and then his 2 blocks behind, basically ready to move forward and claim the objective when it starts mattering in turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
And my main goal was just block the move spells that he had on his runesmiths. I basically just didn't want him to get closer.
Yeah, makes sense. Let's see here. Top of 2, this is you.
Yeah, so you can see after my first turn shooting, I start my maneuver with the scorers over on the left-hand side, so they start kind of moving in. I did a lot of damage, you can see, to that, to the skirmishing seeker unit that has sort of retreated. Characters have dispersed themselves.
Oh, the characters jumped out. Okay, so like I was gonna say, is that just 2 characters in there?
Yeah, no, it's just the champion and a guy. I did a little bit of damage to the other seeker unit. You can see a few models missing there, and then I think I did like the little chip damage with something random to one of the vengeance seekers. But you can see my line didn't change a lot. Mm-hmm. I did start moving the dragon down to the left because I'm hoping that between that dragon and that scoring cav unit, I can come in and start pushing the objective in key phases, right? So sort of forcing him to not just push forward and think more about the objective. So
yeah, gotcha. Okay, let's see here. This is bottom of 2.
Yeah. So this is bottom of 2 movement. So this is before my shooting phase. So I continue bringing the dragon out. Right, I continue bringing the lancers out, and now I'm in a position where he's going to win turn 2, but I have a quite easy way to contest the objective. in turn 3. Right, so kind of trying to keep me in it and not completely give up on it. Also really liked where the dragon was out of every charge arc and threatening the center, right? And then just, I also found a nice little spot for the Tree Father
I see,
in the gap between the 2 Seeker unit, which I kind of liked, and I think it happened from the way the rest of the game played out. But I then, just was ready to keep blasting with everything this turn. I'm not sure, is the next one...
Let's see here. Top of 3 movement. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see what happened here. Yeah, so I unload on that Seeker unit, do a lot of damage to them. I also finish off one of the Vengeance Seekers, which helps kind of make things a lot easier for me on the right-hand side. And we talked about this after the game, but he turned around his Seeker brick with his characters in it because he was worried that I was going to push into his blocks with my dragon and Tree Father. That's what he told me afterwards. Now, at the time, I'm thinking to myself, there's no way that I put a dragon into a strength 6 brick of Greybeards that have 30 bodies.
Yeah.
And because he only needs to hold on for 2 turns to have the Seekers be able to turn around and come after me, right?
Yeah, and there's no way you're gonna grind through that in 2 turns.
I was like, that's only really a threat if he continues pushing the Seekers up, which is what I was kind of hoping to cause in his mind. And so he did it. Now, he said that you should have just charged. You go right through them. And this is where I mistook. I thought that the Greybeards, which are the ones that sit at strength 6 with great weapons, were the ones on the left. They actually were the ones on the right. The calculus might have been a little bit different if I'd realized that, but I still think, 1, I could fail these charges quite easily, and 2,
this looks like a long charge. This looks like a long charge with the dragon.
Yeah. So in my mind, I was like, objective achieved. I wanted him to turn to kind of halt his advance, and now I can just finish shooting him off the board, basically. So so that's basically what he did in his turn. So then, if you move to my next one.
Yeah, this is bottom of 3.
So I take advantage of the fact that he's turned around, and I do push in with the dragon and the cav. Basically, my idea here is to contest the objective this turn, sort of keep it within reach. Yeah. And I'm hoping that with a really good shooting phase, I'm now actually, because he's turned around, I'm now actually positioned to push into the objective in later turns. So I was still up to this point trying to make a play for it, but a couple of things don't go my way this turn. So one of the things that doesn't go my way is I really needed to take off those 2 remaining skirmishing Seekers over there because there's a champion in them, and it makes it really hard for my dragon to do what he needs to do if a single Seeker can stick him in place for a turn, right? So I really need to take them off. I moved the Sentinels up within close range to do exactly that, and they fail to do it. They actually, I think, do 0 damage, which is because you're at -3 to hit them right now, right? Because they're in ruins and skirmished. True, but poison, and that's why I moved them up into half range, so they'd still be able to have poison. So I was just hoping to get a couple 6s out of 10 shots, didn't get it. So I think in retrospect that I didn't devote enough resources to that. I should have pushed more there. And then I also I have a pretty lackluster shooting phase this turn. I think you'll see the results later, but I kind of needed everything to show up this turn to just kind of evaporate most of the remaining Seekers, and it just didn't happen. So then you can see what happens next. Yeah. So what happens actually might be a little.
Yeah, this says bottom 5.
Yeah, so it might be a little easier to go back. So so if you look here, so essentially what happens is he charges the lancers, or sorry, the lancers, the the scoring cav in the center there with the block, and it pushes them through the sentinels and the eagle, and I fail the discipline check, I think, with both, which is I didn't have a good. I think I had covered the eagle with the BSB, but not the sentinels. But not the sentinels. So I got punished for being a bit aggressive there, and that really caused me some problems because I lose the sentinel shooting and I don't have the eagle for chaff in a key turn, right? So I pay for some mistakes and aggressiveness there, and then that at that point, once that's done, he does take a long charge towards the dragon with those 2 skirmishing seekers. Fortunately, he fails it. That was a big a big kind of gasp moment, but fortunately it was like so I think it was unlikely. And then now you can kind of fast forward and I can show you the results of all that. Yeah, so let me see here. It's a little, let me expand this. Yeah, there we go. So basically, bottom of 5, you can see that what I managed to do is I managed to rally both the sentinels and the eagle ultimately, nice. But the lancers, despite being in general and BSB range, run off the board. Okay. So I lose the lancers. Then in shooting, I managed to over the next couple of turns finish off both of the seeker blocks and the skirmishing seekers. Wow. And then in the last turn, I have basically everything within close range, shooting everything they have at those 3 seeker characters. Yeah. And I managed to kill off 2 of them, but not the third. Wow. I think I left the third, like 1 or 2 wounds. Yeah. It's tough with the double up of the hard target and -1 to wound. He managed to get a couple of buffs off on them, and I have a lot of shooting, but they're effective res 6 hard target. It's hard to get through that. And so I was happy I managed to clean up a lot of points. I basically just lost the lancers, which is pretty minor, all things considered. But yeah, that kind of finishes up a very standoffish game where I lose the objective, but you're up on points. Oh, there's one more picture. This is bottom 6, and you kind of just push in here. Yeah, that's right. This was the our arrows will darken the sun, moment where everybody shoots at Leonidas. But yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, that again, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It wasn't a very exciting game. It was a standoffish game. You won on points. He got the secondary, and you ended up with a 12 to you. Yeah, which people with long memories from Infernal Zoo last year will remember that Daryl beat my Ancient Dragon list 12-8 in the last Infernal Zoo. So oh, really? There we go. We're on the bubble. Yeah. Yeah. Now you're just even, and the next game really decides it. So, yeah, were you happy with your strategy here? Oops. Yeah, I think overall strategy, pretty happy with it. I think that looking back, I probably should have put both of the cavalry units over on the left. Yeah. Or maybe even all 3 of my core scoring units, the spears included, over on the left, because I think that it worked. The strategy worked. It just there was only 1 unit, so I had nothing to follow up on it. And as you can see in the later pictures, my 2 scoring units literally just sat over on the side doing nothing the entire game. Yeah. So I think that was I should have doubled down on that strategy and might have been more successful. You could kind of envision in this critical turn if I had the second cavalry unit and the spears over there, I think that could have caused him a lot more problems. So I think a little bit of a mistake on deployment and kind of my strategy towards the objective. I should have gone more aggressively. But the rest of it, I think the rest of the deployment and kind of how I approached the tactics each turn worked out pretty well. And I think a little bit, maybe I could have been a little bit smarter with how I positioned the BSB to make sure that those discipline checks didn't cause such a big issue, because
yeah, and you lose a round of shooting. Yeah.
Yeah, the Sentinels being active for one more round, that finishes off that Slayer character at a minimum, right? And the Great Eagle being available in that turn to chaff could have allowed me to do some things differently. So I made a few mistakes here that I think put a ceiling on what I could achieve, but overall, like, you know, not too bad given him winning first turn and it being hold the ground. I think, you know, pretty good outcome.
Can't complain, but a solid game against Daryl. As I said, the next time you guys play each other, it will truly be the deciding game. And hey, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And next time will be my round 3 at Infernal Zoo. All right. We'll see you next time, guys.